either. Moving forward, do you make personnel? How do you evaluate and say, okay, this guy's not getting it done. We're going to put this guy in this spot. And is that something I assume you're always evaluating day to day, week to week, game to game?
Sure. I mean, the evaluation really of everything we do is on a daily basis. But from a personnel standpoint, you're always looking for guys that are going to step up in those roles. And, based on the return scheme that you're seeing that week, you may move guys around. And a great, for example, is late in the game, we had a really good cover, and DeKalen Brooks and DJ Williams went down in there and did a great job. So, when things like that happen, it forces you to go back and reevaluate who you have where and make sure that you have the right guys in the right spots. Because that's probably the biggest key to special teams is, not just who the people are and where they're going to be, but making sure you put them in the best position to be successful based on your scheme and then based on the schemes that you're seeing that week.
Does it feel like maybe because you guys haven't had a ton of returns, I mean, do you feel like Travis might be pressing a little bit or anything like that? Is that a factor?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest frustration that we've had, I'm sure the players feel it, and then from a coaching standpoint that we've had in terms of the return game is just a lack of consistency, both in who's doing it and then, just getting guys into a rhythm and a routine. We've had 4 different guys line up at punt returner this year throughout the course of 7 games. We've had 3 different guys line up at kick return, and I'd have to go back and really think about this, but I don't think it's been the same starters in back-to-back weeks, at least not very often. So just trying to develop some consistency on who's back there, and that all goes into the process of making good choices when you're there and getting those game reps and getting better as the year goes on. But that only happens if you're the one getting the reps.
You were able to get some of those young defensive ends in finally. What did you see from them, and did you see enough that maybe they could be counted out in other games?
Yeah, no, I was pleased with the way the total reps broke down at the defensive end spot. We were able to get Marcus Cushney some more reps in a normal game situation, not just in a pass rushing situation. Get Pat Payton in the game for the first time. Quayshawn got to play a little bit more than he had been playing, and I thought really all 3 of them played well. I thought for Pat's first game, there were some things that obviously that go along with that first game experience, some of the nerves and jitters that probably go with it, but he didn't look out of place. He looked like he was ready to go, and he seemed calm and composed on the sideline. I was pleased with that. Marcus Cushney flashed. I thought he made some good plays, had a couple sacks, and impacted the game in a way that we hoped that he could when we recruited him here. I thought Quayshawn played as fast as he has played in the last several weeks in terms of just how he chased the ball and just the fundamentals and technique that he played with. So I thought it was good to get some guys some reps that hadn't really been playing a lot, because the majority of the reps had been going to Jermaine Kier and Derek.
Coach Norvell referenced that Clemson's very good on special teams. Can you kind of give us a Cliff Notes version of what they are so effective at doing in that portion of the game?
I think the thing that they do best is they're very sound in what they do. They're not a gimmicky special teams. They don't do, there's not a whole lot of fluff around their formations and alignments and shifts and motions. They don't do any of that. But what they do really well. They play hard, they play fast. So I think they found kind of their identity of who they want to be. They run essentially one kickoff return. They run one punt formation for the most part. They run one style of kickoff cover, and they're good at what they do, and that's where the challenge lies, is that they're good at what they do. You know exactly what they're going to do, and it's going to be who ends up executing better on the play.
Right side, Ira.
Kind of on that note, how does when game planning for special teams work, in the sense of, would Coach Norvell ever come to you and say, hey, we're going to need something in the kicking game if we can find it, or is it always you seeing something and saying, hey, I think this is something we might be able to exploit?
Our game planning on special teams is very similar to how we do offense and defense. It's very collaborative. I spend my Sunday evenings and Mondays preparing for a meeting with Coach Norvell in the evening where we kind of go through the whole plan of the 4 phases. And then obviously he'll always have his thoughts and ideas, and then we'll tweak and adjust as we sit down and talk through what our opponents do and what we want to get accomplished that week. So it's collaborative in that sense, and then every week will be a little bit different based on, because everything is about playing complementary football. So there's going to be some weeks that we might try to press the gas a little bit harder on some things to look at special teams wise. Other weeks maybe not, and that's just going to be based on what's best for all three phases playing together.
From a big picture standpoint, just on the team, from a team standpoint, I think the ACC said you guys are the first, or maybe Derek said, you guys are the first team in the ACC to start a season 0-4 and win 3 straight games. What were some of the keys at that point at 0-4 when things could continue going sideways, and how do you think this has kind of turned around a little bit?
I think the biggest key to why you've seen this season kind of play out the way it has been is the consistency of approach, starting at the top. Coach Norvell has been the same person with the staff and with the players from the beginning of training camp to this morning. And I think when there's a consistent plan and approach and philosophy of how you're going to operate, and that doesn't get affected by the circumstances, over the course of time, you get the buy-in, you get the trust, you get the mindset and attitude that if we just keep doing what we're doing, good things are going to happen. And then it was obviously critical for us to be able to get that success against Syracuse and win a game in a way that we had lost games earlier in the year. And I think just at that moment, there was a little bit of click of, if we listen and we continue to stay the course and we continue to do the things that Coach is asking us to do, good things are going to happen. And, we keep building upon that. And, it's always, it sounds cliche, but, from a coach's standpoint, to stand up here week after week and say, hey, we're not really that far away, that's really how we felt. We're not that far away as a program from kind of bursting through, but we needed something good to happen, and it did. And then we've been able to stack a couple weeks on it, and it leads us to the next big step and the next big challenge that we have this week.
Back right.
Does the math change at all depending on the opponent you're playing when it comes to returning a kick? Like a team against Clemson, is it worth trying to bring it out and get it past the 30 as opposed to just getting it to 25 if you start at 15, et cetera?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. The math does change for sure. I mean, the top return that they've had against them in a returnable situation has been to the 25. So when you think about doing the math on that, we got to be smart in terms of when we take it out, if we take it out, how we take it out, because obviously you want to make sure you measure the risk and reward with everything that you do. So that's absolutely part of the thought process going into any game.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Perfect. Thank you.